Let It Be is the final Beatles album. It's 12 songs and 35 minutes, and it's produced by Phil Spector with an assist from George Martin. And it was released in 1970. And this is released after Abbey Road, even though it was recorded before it. The album cover has photos from Ethan Russell and John Kosh. Here you can see the album cover. And these were photos from the Get Back sessions, which were done in 1969. And this is an original. This is like a 1988 copy, and you got the same photos on the inside. It's the exact same picture if you look at it. And then on the back, you got different photos, and you got the names of the songs, and Apple, Parlophone, and yeah, that's the deal. And this is, like I said, this is an 88 copy. It's just one of these plain discs like this. Okay, the Get Back sessions. You know, the album was recorded after the White Album, but before Abbey Road. And I've been watching the Get Back on Disney Plus right now. You can see the frustration of all the members of the band as they record it. They have, especially when they get down to the end, like they have 14 tunes, but they only have a handful of them ready to record. And it's just the whole recording process was plagued with issues. They started in Twickenham, which was a nightmare. And George quit the band, and Yoko Ono was around, and John was only. You could just tell John Lennon was only half serious about it at the beginning, and he became more serious as time went on. But the other wives were around, Linda and Patty and Maureen, and it was just a new way of making a record for the Beatles. And struggles aplenty. This is a straight up rock album, even more so than Abbey Road. There's some singer-songwriter stuff with Paul and John, or individually. And there's some blues tunes, some folk tunes, and Phil Spector tried to make songs bigger and more grandiose than they are, but it sort of flops or fails. It's not very proggy for a Beatles album, but certainly not as proggy as Abbey Road or the White Album. But like I said, it's more of a straight-up rock and roll album and getting back to basics for the Beatles. The secret weapon on this album is Billy Preston, who they brought in to play organ. And, if you're watching Get Back on Disney Plus, they're even talking about it, like, oh, they talk about Billy Preston, and then the next day they're like, why don't we invite Billy Preston? And then Billy Preston's there, and then all of a sudden he's part of the band. So, yeah, it's definitely a big effect on the album. Okay, let's get right into it. The first track is Two of Us, and it's by the way, all these tracks are they're credited to Lennon and McCartney, but as you know, it's if Paul's singing, it's generally written by Paul, and if John's singing, it's generally written by John Lennon. So, Two of Us is a Paul McCartney tune, and it's 3 minutes and 36 seconds, and he's on lead vocals, but lead vocals are shared by Paul and John. It's in the key of G major, and it's a moderate folk tempo of 109 beats per minute in 4/4 time. And the verse is two of us riding nowhere, spending someone's hard-earned pay. That's that part of the song. It's 16 bars, and there are some time signature changes in there. And the chorus is, we're on our way home, we're going home. It's 4 bars, or maybe this is just... Actually, if you think of it, that part, maybe it's just one long 20-bar verse, although it kind of makes sense that it would be a verse and a chorus. But then there's a bridge part of the song. The bridge is, you and I have memories longer than the road that stretches out ahead. And the bridge part goes... The bridge is 6 bars. And so, it's a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, outro. And then the end is whistling. And that's Two of Us. The second track is called Dig a Pony. It's written by Lennon and McCartney, or it's a John Lennon song. It's 3 minutes and 54 seconds. And lead vocals by John Lennon. The version that's on this version is from the Rooftop concert. And John has admitted the lyrics are nonsensical. And really at this point, a lot of his songs are like that. It's in the key of A major. It's a swing tempo at 116 beats per minute in 3/4 time. So it's like a 1, 2, 3. The verse is, I dig a pony, Well, you can celebrate anything you want, and it's 13 bars. And then the chorus part of the song is all I want is you, and it's 10 bars. And then there's a guitar solo part of the song that is a 13 bars. It's the same music as the verse. And that's kind of how I believe that's George playing that. He's kind of playing what they're singing mostly. The song arrangement of Dig a Pony with those three sections is a verse, chorus, guitar solo, verse, chorus, outro. Track 3 out of 12 is Across the Universe. It is a John Lennon song. It's 3 minutes and 48 seconds. It's a singer-songwriter type song with lead vocals, and it's written by John. I don't like the version that's on here with the Wall of Sound by Phil Spector or the version that's on the Blue album. The Let It Be Naked version is the superior version. Nonetheless, it's in the key of D major. It's smoothly and slowly played in 4/4 time. And the verse is, words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. And it's 11 bars changing to 5/4 and 2/4 time. And the chorus is, Jai Ru Deva Om, nothing's gonna change my world. It's 11 bars all in 4/4 time. And those are the two parts of the song. It just goes verse, chorus, outro. It's one of his more famous songs, and I read that it's a song that he is quite proud of. Track 4 is I, Me, Mine. It's written by George Harrison and lead vocals by George Harrison in 2 minutes and 27 seconds. Also, I really dislike the wall of sound on this one with the strings. Once again, here the naked version is the better version, and if I won't get into it now, but at some point I'll do a Let It Be Naked review. I mean, that's my favorite version of this album, but yeah, I, Me, Mine. It's in the key of C major, and it's 60 beats per minute, and it's in 6/8 time, which is my favorite time signature, because you count it, 1, 2, 1, 2. But it's triplet, because you got 6/8 notes. That's what makes up the measure. And the verse is, all through the day, I, me, mine. I, me, mine. I, me, mine. And that's 16 bars. And he that's kind of how the verse goes. And then the chorus is, I, me, mine, da 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 da, I, me, mine. And it goes on for 16 bars, and there's 4 extra bars at the end. And the chorus is a faster tempo than what's in the verse. It's a verse, chorus, verse, and that's I, me, mine. Track 5 is Dig It, written by, it's credited to Harrison, Lennon, McCartney, and Starkey, so like the whole band, Ringo Starr. And it's 50 seconds. This is just a studio warm-up jam with John Lennon saying nonsense. Yeah, so it's in the key of F major, and it's brightly played in 3/4 time, musicnotes.com says, anyway. And it's 35 bars total. And what John Lennon is singing is, like a Rolling Stone, like the FBI and the CIA and the BBC, B.B. King and Doris Day, Matt Busby, dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it. That's the whole song. It's more like them horsing around in the studio. And if you're watching the Get Back sessions on Disney Plus, you can see them doing stuff like that. Like they do this stuff like this all the time, and they kind of like warm up. They play like a lot of their old tunes warming up, or tunes that they just like to cover. Yeah, anyway, track 6 is Let It Be, written by Paul McCartney. It's 4 minutes and 5 seconds, and it is Paul McCartney on lead vocals, and it's one of his singer-songwriter type songs. It sounds like they, in this version, like they reduced Billy Preston's organ and added some real schmupsy wall of sound stuff. Like horns, you can hear it at about the 1 minute 30 second-ish mark. Again, the naked version is the better. It's the superior version. Either way, Let It Be is in the key of C major. It's slowly played in 4/4 time. The verse is, when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, and it goes on, and that's 8 bars. And then the chorus is, Let It Be, Words of Wisdom. It's a 4-bar chorus. And then there's a solo of, the solo runs from 1 minute 59 seconds to 2 minutes and 27 seconds. And it's 16 bars of guitar solo. It sounds like George Harrison to me. And it's a verse, chorus, guitar solo, chorus, verse, outro. And that's Let It Be. Track 7 is another one of these tunes called Maggie May. It's credited as arranged by Harrison, Lennon, McCartney, and Starkey, or Ringo Starr. But it's a traditional song, and it's 40 seconds long, and it's another folk song. So like Dig It, it's like a folksy. Well, anyway, it's in the key of G major. It's a steady 2-beat in cut time, so like 1 2 1 2. Even though it's in 4/4 time, it's cut time. And the verse is 24 bars total in 1-2 count. And this is like a local song that I guess, that comes from Liverpool. Oh, dirty Maggie May, they have taken her away, and she never walked down Lime Street anymore. And the judge, he guilty, found her for robbing a homeward bounder. That dirty, no good Robin Maggie May. This is part of Liverpool. They returned me to £2.10 a week. That was my pay. That's just one verse. That's the whole song. And it's 40 seconds long. Probably took me that long to read it. Track 8 is I've Got a Feeling, which is one of the better songs on the album. It's a Paul McCartney tune, and it's 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Lead vocals by Paul, but Paul and John, they both share lead vocals, and then John wrote verses 4 and 5. So it's more of a Paul song that John added some verses to at the end. And I don't hear, in this song, I don't hear like a wall of sound treatment on this song. It's one of the few songs, actually. Well, Dig It and Maggie May don't have it either, but it's in the key of G major, and it's moderately in cut time in two beats again. So 1 2 1 2. And the verse is, I've got a feeling deep inside, oh yeah, oh yeah. And that's 16 bars plus a couple of bars for the refrain. And then the bridge part of the song is, all these years I've been wandering around, wondering how come nobody told me. It's 8 bars plus some guitar at the end from George. And then you get to the John Lennon verse parts, which is verses 4 or 5. And he's just singing these cutesy, everybody had a hard year, everybody had a good time, everybody had a wet dream, and that's 12 bars. And then the outro is, it's 29 bars and a drum roll at the end. And that's I've Got a Feeling. It's a verse, bridge, verse, and then verses 4 and 5 are the John parts, and then the outro with the long drum part, and that's I've Got a Feeling. Before I get into track 9, I'll just say I forgot the book at the beginning, but the book is, this is where I got all the music stuff from, and most of the songs are in here, and I did a little bit of digging to get the rest of it, but okay, track 9, One After 909, written by primarily by John Lennon. It was written in 1957 by John and Paul, but mainly by John. And it's 2 minutes and 53 seconds. I can't hear a wall of sound treatment in this song either. It's in the key of E major. Very fast tempo at 184 beats per minute. Very bright. And it's in 4/4 time. The verse is, my baby said she's traveling on the one after 909. It's 16 bars. It kind of does that. Even though it's like a real fast tempo, it kind of plods along, And the bridge is, pick up my bags, run to the station. The railman said you've got the wrong location. That goes on for 16 bars. And then there's a solo. The solo runs from 1:33 to 1:54. And it's 16 bars of guitar solo. Okay? And this song is a verse, bridge, verse, the solo, the bridge again, a verse, and then an outro. And that's One After 909. Track 10 is The Long and Winding Road on Let It Be. And it is a Paul McCartney song. It's 3 minutes and 39 seconds. It's another singer-songwriter type song. So that's 3 of them. This one by Paul. And This song is better on Let It Be Naked, of course. They all are. But I don't like the Phil Spector version with the wall of sound. It's very, very schmupsy, schmaltzy, too drippy. Especially on this version. I mean, or it's on the Blue album too, but oh god, it's just it's painful. But still a great song. The key of E flat major, but the first chord is a C minor, so it's probably like a minor modal C minor type thing. It's a real slow tempo and 4/4 time. And the verse is the long and winding road that leads to your door. And it's 12 bars. And that's really where you can hear the wall of sound, the orchestra. I mean, it's just real. The bridge is many times I've been alone and many times I've cried. It's 4 bars. And then there's a solo. It runs from 225 to 239. And it's over the bridge music, so they just keep playing the bridge music. And it's a verse, bridge, solo, which is over the bridge music, and then a verse, and then an outro. And that's the long and winding road. Okay, the final 2 tracks on Let It Be. Track 11 is For You Blue, written by George Harrison, 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Lead vocals by George. This is a straight up 12-bar blues song. It's in the key of D major, and it's 128 beats per minute, a swing beat, and it's in 4/4 time. The verse is, because you're sweet and lovely girl, I love you. It's 12 bars. And then there's 2 solos in the song. The first solo runs from 57 seconds to 1:20, and that's 12 bars. And then the second solo is right after the first solo. It goes from 1:20 to 1:42, and it's 12 bars also. So this whole thing is 12 bars. It's a verse, solo, verse, verse. For You Blue. And it's one of those happy George Harrison songs, which I quite like. The final track is track 12, Get Back. It's a Paul McCartney song. It's 3 minutes and 8 seconds long. It's in the key of A major, and it's moderately played in 4/4 time. And the verse is, Jojo was a man who thought he was a loner, but he knew he couldn't last. It's a 12-bar verse with the intro. And then the chorus is, get back to where you once belong. And that goes on for 8 bars. And then there's some solos in the song. So there's a guitar solo, a piano solo, and then a second guitar solo. The first guitar solo starts at 59 seconds and runs for 16 seconds. And it's 8 bars. And then there's an electric piano solo by Billy Preston, which is 8 bars. It starts at 1 minute and 32 seconds and runs to 1:48 seconds. And then the second guitar solo runs from 220 to 235. It's a quick 8 bars. And it actually sounds more like the first solo, like almost like he did the same thing. Okay, and then that's Get Back. So it's really the verse, the chorus, and the guitar solo, which is like copied twice, and then the electric piano. The song arrangement is a verse, chorus, solo, guitar solo, chorus, electric piano solo, verse, chorus, second guitar solo, outro. And that's Get Back. Okay, now in summary, for Let It Be, which is, it's really a terrific album. Although I prefer Let It Be Naked, which I'll do in a separate review, but this is really my favorite Beatles album. Anyway, its sales are just under 6 million, which was good enough for number 5 in 1970, and number 12 all time for the Beatles, which is pretty low actually. It's behind, believe it or not, Magical Mystery Tour and Revolver. Plus all those greatest hits discs and Sgt. Pepper and the White Album. But yeah, it's terrific. ProgArchives.com gives it a 3.34, which I think is low. Now, the Beatles are classified as proto-prog. This isn't very proggy at all, so you might be wondering why go to progarchives.com, but I just think they have really good reviewers of their albums, and 3.34 seems low to me. To me, this is a 4-star or a 5-star album. I think it's their best album. Certainly my favorite. Maybe not their best, but my favorite. Especially the Let It Be Naked version. Allmusic.com. Let's see. I didn't even look it up. Let's just see what did they give it. I'm gonna grab my old phone here, and I'll chat. I'll waste some time while I do this, but I'm guessing it's gonna be a 5-star. Okay, it's 4.5 stars on. Oh, of course they give me an ad. Allmusic.com, 4.5 stars. I mean that seems about right to me. 4.5 or 5 stars. Okay, that's it. That's enough of Let It Be. Great album. Highly recommend it. Go get it. Maybe you don't like it. That's all right by me. You can like whatever you like. Next on the channel will be Pink Floyd Metal. And then I've got some sorting out to do, so I got to figure out what's going to come up next for the channel. All right, I'm out. Thank you.